Hey guys, I know you opened this video looking for some relationship advice, and we may get there one day, but for today, it's going to be about stability on the chessboard. And this is something that is going to be especially useful for more beginner level players who are still getting into lots of tactical trouble and they don't know why. So hopefully after this video, you're going to know what to look for to stay out of those kinds of problems. This is based on a game of a student of mine rated under 1,000, playing someone who's rated over 1,000. And my student was playing with the black pieces. So at this moment in the game, white just blunders away a pawn with the move queen c2. Here we go, queen c2. And the black took it and the queen just went back. Okay. So now black has to make a decision. What to do about the hanging knight? Well, the best move actually is to move the knight to a safe square like this. And the nice point of that is that you're also attacking the white knight, so white has no time to take your pawn on d5. And if they move their knight away, you will simply develop, maybe even push the pawn, you can think about it. And if they take your knight, then your extra pawn is securely protected, everything is great. But black does something that I think is a very common mistake. They decide, hey, I'm just going to protect my knight with my bishop. So this is a little bit problematic, guys. Whenever you're using pieces to protect other pieces, you have to be super confident in their stability. Because sure, the knight is safe, but what about the bishop? I mean, you got to make sure that like knight a4 is not a problem. It's actually not in this position because you can always play like knight e6. You got to make sure bishop e3 is not a problem because there's a little pin going on here. Maybe even bishop g5 because suddenly there's a pin that you're not breaking with the bishop on e7. And so white actually made the best move, bishop e3. And it turns out that this relationship of bishop and knight was not very stable. So the knight moved away, and white traded and won back the pawn that they were missing. Black played bishop e6. I like that move. I mean, certainly it's a nice developing move, create some connections on the back rank. And here white was needing to kind of make one of these knight retreats and still having some advantage because, well, unfortunately this pawn is in some danger and it's not that easy for black to defend it, despite the fact that black has pretty decent development, but you just can't really guard that pawn so easily. White made a much less dangerous move. They traded the knights, brought out the black queen. Well, black is really happy to get that development in. And now watch how white makes a similar mistake to black. They decide, I'm going to protect that knight with the queen, right? And I'm also going to attack that knight. Well, that's nice in general, but again, the question is, how stable is this queen? Like after rook a c8, which is a really natural move, black is actually threatening, just trap the queen in the middle of the board, and white realizes their queen and knight combo is not very stable, so they tried to save the queen, and now black was basically just winning if they would have taken that free pawn. But black decided to attack the queen, go here, and then black was facing a big decision, trade the queens or not. Well, you might not want to play the end game, but do you really have a good way to get out of it? Well, black thought, sometimes it's a very common mistake, by the way, guys. Some people, they really don't like to play those end games, so they'll do anything to avoid a queen trade, and black did that. And again, you see, it's a problem of stability, guys. You're using your queen to protect the knight, but the queen is just not stable at all. As a defender, she's often not. The moment she gets attacked with anything, first of all, she has to move. Second of all, it's even a discovered attack on the knight. So black is just completely lost. But I mean, this would be losing even if there was no bishop, right? Although maybe if there was no bishop, you could try queen g4 and still kind of keep the knight covered. Yes, okay, so the bishop being there matters. But the point is, guys, that the theme of this game is this creation of relationships on the board that are really not secure. you have to be very careful when you're using a piece to defend another piece, right? You have to understand that that new piece can be subject to attack as well. So I think that's like a special area to be careful about when you're giving one piece the responsibility for another piece. And there are a couple of relationships in chess where that works better generally, right? Because you might ask people, isn't it good when pieces are protecting each other? Yeah, it's good if they can do so in a really stable, convenient way. So for example, two rooks, right? Generally, they like that relationship. They like to work together on open files. They're quite happy to be protecting each other. Another very stable relationship is that of an outpost. We haven't done any videos on that yet, but you guys may be familiar with the concept of outpost. That's when a pawn is protecting usually a knight that can't be attacked by any other pawns. And having a pawn as a protector in general is a much more stable thing than having a piece as a protector. And it's much more stable and much more efficient as well. You're using a lesser amount of material to do the job, right? And when a pawn gets attacked, it's not quite as critical as when a queen gets attacked, as in this situation, right? So you'll have like more time to get out of whatever issues you're having. So yes, there are relationships in chess, guys, where you can use pieces to protect other pieces. It happens all the time. But you definitely want to be a little bit careful about that. Sometimes pieces, they just like to do things independently, right? And so in this situation, the knight really doesn't need the bishop coming in to assist. It is absolutely fine getting out of this problem by itself. So the lesson for today, guys, is when you are using pieces to protect other pieces, make sure that that new piece is going to be extremely stable because it has a big job to do.